What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 51. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I got a smile on my face after watching that game, right? We just got done watching Manchester City, Liverpool, 3,000 miles away from each other. I tell you what, those types of games where both teams are at each other's throats, where they're both playing phenomenal football. That's what makes us fans, right? For sure. But anyway,
I'd say that was one of the games of the season. Okay, that was one of the games of the season. And what's the best thing is we're gonna see this on repeat, this clash of Man City against Liverpool. So high expectations. So let's get started with. You want to get with United, Tottenham? Where do you want to touch?
Well, actually, I mean, let's stay on that Liverpool City game for a second, okay? Because I think this is pretty important momentum-wise for Liverpool. You've got a team that, as far as I can see, in past years, they have gone to the Etihad and been blown out previously. I have to go maybe back to like 2018. I think they lost 4-0. There was another game where it was 5-0. So the fact that Liverpool was pretty square, right, with them, 2-2. That's pretty important. Sadio Mane with that great goal on his 30th birthday. But I'm going to tell you right now, it almost felt like that Manchester City. You know how Pep Guardiola was talking about how he overthinks some of these things, yes. And he feels as if most of the time it works out in his advantage. Well, that Gabriel Jesus giving him his first Premier League start since January, that was interesting. It started out obviously really, really well, but in that second half, he missed a couple chances, a couple layoffs that could have had, it had De Bruyne fuming. And it's at that point that I was a little surprised that he wasn't replaced. I think he wasn't replaced until like the early 80s, right? The early 80th minute.
Yep.
So it was really interesting to kind of see that overthink and like play itself out because it worked. Then take them off in the 50th or 60th minute and put fresh legs in, put somebody that's going to provide, like Mahrez, right? Put somebody in a whole lot earlier, let them gel and hit them on the counter because they were doing it like phenomenally well. And just a couple things didn't go their way. But anyway, I just didn't want to leave it. But Luis Diaz, when he came on in the 70th, another breath of fresh air. I'm just really excited to see the FA Cup clash and what these two can do. And if they wind up, I don't know. They're just a lot of fun stuff. But anyway, that was not the only game this weekend. That is just
true. But first things first is Kevin De Bruyne. I have to highlight this. Something that's very different in the Man City game is the fact that they have no striker. And the fact that they have no striker does something that never happened ever in the history of Kevin De Bruyne's career. And it is, he has more goals than assists this season for Man City. And it's because Man City have no strikers. So he had to adapt his whole style of play. And you can see it. He's much more taking ownership with those shots. And you can see the threat constantly in that first half especially. The players that I gotta highlight is the Portuguese bunch, okay? Cancelo was the best fullback in that game. Trent was not bad, but Cancelo was better threat, and he played better. And Bernard Silva. The goal of De Bruyne, who sets up that goal was Bernard Silva with the quick free kick. He is so underrated with those smart plays that he does, the fouls that he generates, the movements he does. So I have to highlight him. And Jota keeps on scoring and banging goals. So Cancelo, Bernard Silva, and Jota in the biggest clash in the world of football right now. The Portuguese players are shining. No Ruben Dias, unfortunately. And Ederson. Ederson went bold. I went bold with that in the goal. Okay, and final comments was Guardiola said before the game, we've raised the bar of the Premier League. And that is absolute fact. Because we're looking at that game thinking, how long will it take Man United to get to this level that Liverpool and City are at.
I see what
my
you
days.
did. I see what you just did. What a segue. Yeah, it's gonna take a while, and obviously we talked a lot about it in that live on Friday, and I appreciate everybody tuning into that. But I mean, to distill it down to a bite-sized morsel here, Eric Ten Hag or not, it's going to take just a lot of new things for what United is now, what a lot of people deem a corporate club. Right? What United is now, it's going to take them a lot to become like, we love football again, right? We love it so much that we're going to put the best players on the field, not the players that we paid 70 million pounds to buy.
Exactly.
Right? And that's going to take a lot longer than I think people think, unless, of course, you invite a guy like Eric Ten Hag in and you say, here's control. You're going to have footballing people above you, and we're going to help you build the roster that you need to essentially play your role, play your tactic, play your system. And we talked about a lot of players. We talked about a lot of positions. And then Man United went out and gave us another performance that was, again, substandard. And then we had some crazy drama at the end of it. I don't know if do you want to comment on it first before I comment on it?
Well, let's comment on the game first. Like,
okay.
it was sad, yes. And first things first is my message after watching that Everton 1-0 victory over United is get Eric Ten Hag ASAP. Because Liverpool, when Klopp arrived at Liverpool, okay, it was October, November, start of the season, but it wasn't like September or like July. It was in the middle of a season. It was like, we know where we're at. We know we need a savior. That guy is available. Let's go with it. That's what United need to do. They need to be like, right now is the time, okay? And I think Eric Ten Hag would do it because something is happening right now, and it is Ralf Rangnick, every single game that he loses, especially, he loses importance. And his chances of staying at the club, just giving counseling, go lower and lower for every loss that he has. And I don't want, for United, Ralf Rangnick going. Because if he goes, Eric Ten Hag will be on his own, okay? And we don't want that guy on his own if United are going to have improvements, okay? Because it's at the top two. So get Eric Ten Hag ASAP. That's the message I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, that is not a bad message. I don't know how realistic it is. They'd have to throw a lot of money at him because he is in an Eredivisie title race as it stands, but there's got to be a way to maybe get a support staff in there or somebody else in there. First, they got to announce the damn thing, right? Announce it and make it official. But I just watching that game. I'm gonna, instead of focusing on the United kind of drivel and that result, I'm gonna focus on the positive here because a long storied historic club like Everton was on the ropes. They still are. They still are on the ropes, except maybe they've taken a step out and they're almost ready to fight again, because what I saw was everybody took the field like they were Anthony Gordon and Richarlison on the day, right? I mean, this kid Anthony Gordon wears his heart on his sleeve, and like he is a toffee. When I think of Everton players, I honestly I think of him. Now, because he just personifies it, and you could see it. Ben Godfrey played well, Richarlison played well, Anthony Gordon played well, and it was what's his name? Alex Iwobi he was all over. He was a bat out of hell. Good. He was all over the place. Were they playing great football? No, they weren't. But they did what they had to do to scrape out the 3 points that they absolutely needed when all is said and done. So I don't know, man.
Great show with Anthony Gordon. He personifies the intensity that you need as a youngster, and you can see that he wants the change at Everton, okay? Yeah. And Richarlison too. There's a couple of players there that I'd say, Michael Keane. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of moments there I'm like dubious. I think Alain coming back, that's a big comeback for Everton too. But I just want to say another thing with United too. I don't understand Okay, we all know Paul Pogba's gonna leave. We all know. So for the benefit of United, do they still need to play Paul Pogba? Is it good for him to still be in that locker room? Maybe. Does it give the right message overall to the locker room? We knowing that Paul Pogba's gonna go and he's still there talking. So, with all due respect, I love Pogba, but maybe it's the best for him already to decide where he's gonna go. And for United, it'd be really good to have clarity. It'd be really good too. So,
yeah, and here's the absolutely crazy thing. Oops, just bumped the mic. But here's the absolutely crazy thing. West Ham dropped points. Okay, Tottenham gained points. Arsenal dropped points. Like, the race for fourth place is not out of the question. You know, United is not out of it. I mean, the window's getting closer or smaller for them to actually get something done. But, you know, if they can strike fire and get a little, I don't know, excitement, and get a little like Evertonian pizzazz for the last few games here, 6, 7, whatever it is, games left, United could still get into Champions League football. They absolutely could. It's not necessarily out of the question. It's going to be tough. But I think there is that wrestling with, even with a Ralph Rangnick, I think there is the wrestling with, you know, we paid this amount of money for this particular person, or this particular person has a stature or has an agent breathing down my neck. They need to play in order to be able to offload him, or they need to play. I don't know. It just seems like everybody's remembering 2018 World Cup final Paul Pogba and not the Paul Pogba that's currently whatever he's doing at United. So I'm with you, but I do believe United can still potentially turn it around, at least to the good. But it's gonna.
But it all depends on who. It all depends on who for that to happen.
It does, and I'll be honest. I'm gonna say it. I'm a little skeptical that it's Cristiano Ronaldo that turns this club around or helps turn this club around. I think he's at wit's end. I think he sees that there's this whatever, and it manifested itself in whatever happened. If people haven't read up on it, obviously it's a buzz on Twitter and pretty much everywhere else. But yes, I believe it was after the game he was leaving, right? They had just lost Everton 1-0. A fan, I'm not sure how young, 14. But a fan held his hand out with his phone in it, and Cristiano Ronaldo slapped it pretty hard, and the phone fell down and broke. Now, Cristiano, in his defense, immediately kind of apologized and immediately invited that particular fan to a game, and I'm sure he's probably going to cover a new phone. He's probably going to do whatever. But now you've got this like investigation that's happening, and it's tough.
The fan's leveraging. Okay, he doesn't want a new phone. He doesn't want a trip to Old Trafford. The fan wants a big fine to Cristiano Ronaldo of like 100,000 or 200,000, and maybe he's gonna get that because that attitude was wrong to do. Okay, Ronaldo was not right to do that, and that again, I'm not gonna justify it. It was wrong to do it, but that shows the passion and the frustration of that guy. And I saw some comments on Twitter. Okay, that's the frustration of someone that has as captain Maguire. So I was like, oh no. But if it's going there, I understand. And for me, I told you in the live, the captaincy role for me is the biggest problem. And Alphonso Davies, I wanted to say this. He mentioned it, okay? And I am 100% with him. We constantly say this, that it is. How does Maguire talk to Ronaldo as a captain with that armband in terms of respect? So, and if you have Gary Neville talking about that in the panel of Sky Sports, there's clearly that talk inside Man United. So just take the captaincy. It's awkward for me that Maguire still has it. It's awkward. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it's like the shiny object to just almost.
It's very important.
It's very important. It's the shiny object to just lay in on Harry Maguire right now. When all is said and done, though, and I've said this previously, like as good as Cristiano Ronaldo can be, as good as he is, as legendary as the man is, for Manchester United to move on, like really truly move on, I think Cristiano Ronaldo has to move on. I think they need to just agree to part ways this summer or whatever. Maybe, because I don't know if he's. I don't know. Maybe 10 years. Probably not 10 years ago. I don't know if he's necessarily cut out for the role that he likely is going to have to play for United to essentially get its soul back, right? And I don't necessarily fault Cristiano Ronaldo for that, right? He's too advanced in his career to necessarily want to like take the kids under his wing, all the kids, all the people, whether they're 27-year-old Englishmen, center backs. I don't know if he's 27. Is he like 29? I don't know.
He's there.
It's taking these people, these supposed world-class athletes under his belt that's weird, under his arm, and explaining to them kind of how to be a legendary club or a world-class club. I don't want to put that on his shoulder, especially in the last few years of his career. So really what it comes down to, the way I look at it, is this relationship, while it seemed phenomenal on paper, you and I both agreed that if this could work out, it would work out phenomenally. Well, it hasn't. And I think it makes sense for everybody to kind of look at it and say, hasn't worked out. Well, I think Cristiano can go somewhere else, have his few final years be in a place that he really can. Where that is, I don't know. I don't know where you might think United is. Or do you think he's going to batten down the hatches and say, no, I need to make United great again? Oh, geez. I can't believe I'm about to use that slogan.
I believe in that. But I believe that Ronaldo really himself, his belief, I really don't think he's going to leave Man United as a failure or as a bad transfer. He can't in his mind. Because first he comes there as someone that's going to turn it back. And this is something too. Oli was the coach at Man United at the start. Oli was the one that put Maguire with the captaincy, that put that pressure. Oli was the one who got a Bissaka and then didn't know how to use Jadon Sancho. So I think Ralph Rangnick with Ronaldo, they're trying to get a grip of each other even. Some really good moments happened with Ralph Rangnick too. So I really believe still, if Erik ten Hag comes, I believe that Ronaldo can be the leader and the example of the culture that Man United should have, because they had it when he was there and he saw everything. He saw everything. And in the live I said it, I just don't know if Maguire would accept the diminishing of his importance in the locker room. That for me, because it can affect the player in the wrong side.
I hear you there, but if he ever had a captaincy role to play, his understanding of that is probably the swallow that pride, man.
Exactly.
And everyone's got to buy into this regeneration of Manchester United, and if you can't, then it's just going to perpetuate itself.
And I've just a last note with that is, I remember ever since Maguire went out and he had that news about Ibiza, the Ibiza incidents that Maguire had as a captain, and the news was on top of him because he was a Man United captain involved in all that gibberish. Ever since then, I haven't seen Maguire the same player. Ever since then, in my opinion. So I hope he can become the Maguire we saw at Leicester. Definitely.
Yeah, but
let's change the focus so to something more positive, and it's Tottenham. Yeah, and if you listen to FC Wonderkid podcast, you know I'm a huge believer of Conte. And when those news reporters that was saying, "Oh, Conte, he wants to go, he wants to leave Tottenham, he's just playing mind games with the players," and you can see that Kulusevski has turned on, and by Kulusevski turning himself on, who is playing really well now? Son and Kane. So he is the gel that was needed at Tottenham, and Bentancur too. At the back too, handling things as it should be. Love it.
Yeah,
so Conte is finally doing it. Woo!
Yeah, we did say that Kulusevski could really shine in an Antonio Conte system. And obviously it was rocky to start. It all was rocky to start. But yeah, they are flying now. I mean, I think they were 9th or 10th place when Conte came in. Now they're up to 4th, and they have a really, really good chance of locking 4th place down. Don't think they'll catch Chelsea at third, but fourth is definitely in their view. But more importantly, man, they've won, I believe it's 6 out of their last 7 games. Okay. 7 out of their last 9. And, one of the big things that was really letting them down early on was defense. And obviously Harry Kane hadn't woken up from his half season long slumber yet. But now you're looking at guys that are just on fire, like you mentioned. Son had a hat trick against Steven Gerrard's Villa. They won 4-0, and now you're looking at 25 goals scored, 4 goals conceded for Tottenham in their last 7 Premier League games. Okay, 25 goals scored, like that's pretty damn impressive. And Harry Kane has shot up the charts. I mean, he hasn't surpassed Salah, and he certainly hasn't surpassed Son, but just a little fun fact here. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Son now has more non-penalty goals in the Premier League than Mohamed Salah, your Golden Boot leader currently, himself.
Sheesh, that's a bold stat. Ooh, that is a bold stat. Whoa. So that just shows that Son's underrated. That is fucked. Love it. What I want to say too is like Kulusevski, it's still a loan with an option and it's 35 million. And that is gonna be triggered 100%. And he's got 9 goals and assists. Okay, so that involvement makes him no doubt one of the top 10 definitely January transfers last January transfer window. And if you want to see a video about our top 10 January transfers, let's get this podcast at 300 likes, okay? Go bold. Just a quick mention. I want to do that top 10 video. But going to it too. Yeah, just 300. Go bold with it. Just, So, and I wanted to say this about Tottenham. I got here on my notes. We focus a lot about Arsenal youth, but Tottenham with Conte, they've got youth too. They got Oliver Skip, 21-year-old. Kulusevski, 21 too. Romero, 23. Brian Gil on loan to Valencia. He'll come back 21. Emerson Royal 23. Bentancur 20. Yeah, Bentancur 24. So we still got a ton of. Did I mention Romero 23?
Yes, you did.
Because that for me is like unbelievable. Romero's gonna cement himself there, and it's like a lock. They got him for 40 million. Like people touching him, they'll be trying to sell him out for much more than that. And Conte is sure happy because he knew him at Atalanta too. So now the big question is Harry Kane. Yeah, you mentioned him, and it's interesting that the closer we are to the summer, the better Harry Kane is performing. Okay, and I don't think that metric is a coincidence because, and I am sure Conte is aware too. Okay, and I am gonna say that Kane I think is gonna leave next summer. Okay, for 100 or 120 million, and I am expecting or Lautaro or Dybala to go to Tottenham. One of these two. Okay, that's a bold prediction, but I'm definitely expecting more replacement, and he's already thought it out because it wouldn't make sense to Tottenham to just leave Kane go and not have any leverage, not having any momentum with him. So it must be talked it out.
Do you honestly believe Harry Kane is going to leave the Premier League? Because I don't see Erik ten Hag coming in and saying, I want to spend 100 million plus on Harry Kane. I also don't see City going after him unless their pursuit of Haaland dissipates pretty quickly, which it doesn't seem like it's going to unless Real Madrid outbids them. Chelsea is a question mark. Arsenal, no way.
No way.
You really think Arsenal?
No, I don't think Daniel Levy would like that for sure, and he'll be a hard bargainer.
I wouldn't like if Daniel Levy liked that. I mean, that's like, oof. I don't know. I don't even know if Stan Kroenke has has the I don't know, intestinal fortitude to shell out that type of money.
No,
but it is
still
kind
no.
of funny. I mean, they could have just mended ends with Aubameyang, and who knows, maybe he could have pulled a Harry Kane and started scoring goals in the Premier League.
True.
Uh,
But I think
but yeah,
Manchester, Breton. I
you
think,
do.
or United. I think even with Ten Hag, why wouldn't Ten Hag like it? I think it would be a big pull of the trigger. Yes, and I do think he'll sign other players ahead. I think Kane will be something in the middle of the summer. It won't be like first transfer. So because it's such a big decision. So if you think Harry Kane's gonna leave, put down below in the comment section and say where do you think he's gonna go, because we're having doubts over here. And yeah, let's go. I mentioned with the Tottenham youth, I mentioned the Arsenal youth that is really good, okay? But that happened, okay? They lost to Crystal Palace, okay? And that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Patrick Vieira masterclass over him. Conor Gallagher, really good again. So 2 losses for Arsenal. Oh my days.
Yeah, I mean that's you got Graham Potter doing the same thing against them. And all I gotta say, I know this is jumping the gun. In that game, that 2-1 win for Brighton over Arsenal. Enoch Mwepu, he's 24 now, but he was part of that Zambian connection of Patson Daka and Enoch Mwepu at Red Bull Salzburg that we loved. We loved to talk about them. Mwepu had just the game of his life. And I got to shout out Moises Caicedo. You'll hear his name later.
Yes.
But Moises Caicedo getting his first Premier League start for Brighton, he looked great. And I really do feel like he's going to mature more into it, the more time he gets in the Premier League. And 7 months from now, Moises Caicedo is going to be so much better than what he is right now. And right now, he's pretty damn good. So yes, hey, you're absolutely right. I mean, when you play with youth, you expect pits and fits and starts. You expect peaks and troughs, whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, they're going through a trough right now of 2 losses in a row at exactly the wrong time, because this was the time that they could have taken 4th place and made it their own, and put a little distance in there. But they still got really big matches coming up. So, who kind of did anyone disappoint you in particular in these last few games, or do you think just system wide they couldn't get fit?
No, there's one player I gotta say, Nuno Tavares. Okay, for everyone that questioned me saying Nuno Mendes is worse than Nuno Tavares, this, that, and the other thing. Where are you now? Where are you now? Because Nuno Mendes is no doubt better. And it was a development type player, okay? So that's the first thing. And I want to say to Arsenal fans, you mentioned it. It's such a young side. No need to panic. This happens as a result of the age and the inexperience in the group. I totally agree. And it's because of the lack of a striker. Because there's moments there that you needed a striker to score a goal for a 1-0 up or a 2-0 up. And the midfielder next up, Partey. And I am just going to say a quick mention. Fabrizio said that Leicester are willing to negotiate Tielemans for 25 million. What are you waiting for, Arsenal? What are you waiting for? This is the perfect player to be next to Partey and to have the solution to give that little bit, that inch of creativity that you need to do the things at the right time that Tielemans would do, and 25 million would be a bargain. But
if they balk at that, that's just bad business.
Exactly.
I'll give you what little pennies I have to help make that get done.
And what I gotta say too is, like, with Arteta, that's why I really want to say to Arsenal fans, no need to panic, because even if Arteta doesn't work out, okay, I'm not gonna. Even if he doesn't get top 4 this season, I'm not going to go on top of Arteta, because he did what he had to do. He cleared the deadwood of the club. The club has a different culture, has a different passion, and a different feel for it. A signing of Ramsdale, a signing of Odegaard, a signing of Tomiyasu, Saliba coming back. So Emil Smith-Rowe playing really well, Saka playing really well, Martinelli playing really well. All these decisions were done by Arteta. And I feel like if he doesn't get right the striker, okay, that's next. If it doesn't work out, look, people shouldn't hate on him. He did what he had to do, and he did a really good job. And I feel like that next season is going to be the season for Arteta, because he's going to pull the trigger with the striker. And if he doesn't get it, If he doesn't get it, we already see the shadow, okay? That I mentioned they lost to Crystal Palace, and it was Patrick Vieira, okay? The coach that beat them, and he's doing a pretty good job at Crystal Palace with the French, okay? Olise, okay, going there. So, Hudson Edouard, trusting the youth too. Conor Gallagher, excellent loan. And who would be great with Patrick Vieira? Maybe Saliba. Maybe Saliba would enjoy a bit of Patrick Vieira at Arsenal. So I just wanted to end up with that. I don't think Arteta should go, but the shadow is definitely rising.
Well, yeah, I mean, you also have to take into consideration those Crystal Palace center backs. They've been playing, Gagey and what's his name, Wacom. I don't know how to say his first name. Joachim maybe Anderson. They've been very, very good for Crystal Palace, but. No, I'm with you, and that lack of the nine is it's important, and there might be somebody. I mean, Lacazette had his run of form, but we all knew that wasn't necessarily going to turn into this consistent. I'll score you that 87th minute scrapper, bundle it over the line to get the 3 points away, right? So they've lost 3 of 4, but like here's the crazy thing. They're literally 3 points out of Tottenham, who's in 4th place now with a game in hand. So this is still very much doable if 4th is your final destination. But I, just to maybe segue it, because it sounded like that's what you're doing, and it was a great shout out for Crystal Palace because they've been playing great as of late. But I got maybe look internally. There's a certain, if you're looking for a 9, you don't necessarily need to spend the 60, 70, 80 that we probably all think you need to get a proper one. Why not look at Ivan Toney? I mean, Ivan Toney at Brentford right now, who has, thanks to Christian Eriksen and some others, have a ridiculous resurgence that is currently happening. They won again today, pipping West Ham. West Ham could have, made up some points on Arsenal in their race for 4th, and they didn't, and it was because Ivan Toney now has, I have it down here somewhere, I want to make sure I don't give the wrong number, but I believe it's 9 goals. 9 goals in his last 9 games. I could be wrong about that.
Eriksen effect. What I gotta say is, like, they beat Chelsea and they beat West Ham because Eriksen is there now. And great shout with Ivan Toney. When you get those stats, please tell me with Ivan Toney, because it's
9 goals, 2 assists in his last 9 matches. Yes, he scored 4 penalties, but we don't count that. But he could fit very well and I believe do very well in the system that Arteta is trying to build up. And he's young enough. He's not 19. He's not 21. He's whatever. True. But he is young in terms of competition that he's growing into his Premier League role. This is a guy that's literally hit every rung of football in England on the way up, almost very Jamie Vardy-like in that sense. And he's scored goals everywhere he's gone. And 9 goals in the last 9 games means – I'd be very surprised if Arsenal, if you're factoring in English tax, and you take Mr. Moneybags, Stan Kroenke into effect, Ivan Toney should be probably at the top of their list or pretty damn close.
I think he's underrated, and even with those videos that people don't recognize him, and he's like, "Oh, who are you? I just play in the Premier League." It's like they don't like he gives some side comments that he's not happy at Brentford, but
I know
my shout, okay, for a player that I forgot to say could go to Tottenham, and I can see him going to London after, is Richarlison. Okay, I do think if Everton go down or something happens there, Richarlison should stay in the Prem because that's where he should be, and Arsenal should be looking really on top of him, and Tottenham if that loss of Harry Kane happens. I think that'd be two great shouts to happen. But moving into another league, I just want to give a shout.
Wait. Before we move on, I got just one more shout out, man, because I just need you. I need you on camera to say it. What do you think of Jesse Marsch and Leeds United?
Really good. It was up 3-0 against Watford. And I actually saw the highlights. And I got to say, too, something about that game. Great that you mentioned it. Calvin Phillips came on and 2 goals came after, okay? I remember telling you the moment that Jesse Marsch grabbed his hands on Calvin Phillips, Leeds was going to go even better, more scarier. No doubt he's a fantastic player because he just suits so well the system of Jesse Marsch with those pinpoint daggers.
And as we know, I mean, they're not safe yet. So let's I gotta definitely slow my roll. But hey, anytime an American coach in the Premier League, considering Bob Bradley before him, anytime an American coach in the Premier League wins a few games and lasts longer than a couple weeks, I'm going to be pretty damn ecstatic. But when it comes down to it, they're flying right now and they're feeling good and they're getting some fortunate bounces. But Jack Harrison, Rafinha, Rodrigo's playing well. The older guys, it's just great to see. And yes, I'm biased. With Calvin Phillips coming back too, that's hopefully going to allow them to push on. So hopefully they get their safety. But really, what it comes down to, we know that this is more of a money situation, right?
It is.
Rafinha staying up in the Premier League when people are chasing the heck out of him for his signature, it's the difference of almost 100%, right? It's like either, what did you say? It was like 25 or 70 or 25 or 75?
Yep.
It's a big deal. So, I just wanted to make sure that he got his just dues because Jesse Marsch celebrates every win as if he's won the lottery. Right. And it's kind of very Ted Lasso of him to do that. But it is wonderful to see. So we can now leave the Premier League, but I needed to get my American propaganda in there.
For sure. And last mention, too, is no striker there. Daniel James is the one playing up fours. And he's got like Daniel James, Rafinha, and Jack Harrison there moving them three. And Bamford, if he was there, maybe they'd be even better. So, put down below in the comment section anything we missed out from the Premier League. Go bold and, feel free to comment. So, next thing I got to mention with it is João Félix getting the award of the best player in La Liga last month, which is deserving with 4 goals and the complete change of vibe with Atletico because everybody was getting on top of Atleti. And after that Man City game, imagine if they were in the bad form that they were before and having the Man City propaganda game of no attack, and João Félix playing as a left back. So it was really good for Atleti getting João Félix with this award. Facts.
Yeah, it's amazing what a player can do when he's 100% healthy, right? Especially one as talented as João Félix, and also when you play him, which wasn't happening, mainly because he was dealing with injury as well. But that's great to see. But if he wants to build on that, there's a certain game that's coming up that he might want to ball out at, and maybe he will.
On Wednesday. Shout out on Twitch. Go to our Twitch channel on Wednesday, FC Wonderkid at 8 o'clock, people, okay? It's Atleti at Wanda Metropolitano against Man City, okay? So please go bold with it.
That's there's not too much else to talk about La Liga, but like obviously just the Jekyll and Hyde type of thing again with Atleti showed itself. I think he might have done. I was going into the 11. Yeah. He did do no, not really. He had Suarez start and Griezmann start, and they lost to Mallorca, who's literally the bottom of the table.
I watched that game.
Villarreal does that on a regular basis. So I guess you got to do what you got to do when you're fighting for the Champions League semifinals, and that's okay. I'm a little surprised they didn't get things done, but elsewhere I did see David Silva with 2 assists today. Even though Man City couldn't get the win at home against Liverpool, David Silva's out there getting Real Sociedad 3 points when they were down 1-0 most of the game. But really, you've got Christo Nkunku with another goal and assist today for Red Bull. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable, and I just got to say it again. France, call him up and play him.
Yes.
Boom. Done. Boom. I'm not going to say anymore. Boom.
They'll end up ahead. Leverkusen is in 3rd, right? So, no Wirtz. Leipzig are gonna. You reckon too, right? They're gonna get that 3rd place.
I mean, they're fighting for it. They certainly are fighting for it, but they still got interesting ways to go. But yeah, I just needed to bring that up again, and that's a good segue because Nkunku was at PSG, and PSG could have had all this, but instead they needed to build the craziest trio that I've seen, obviously, since Barcelona. And that's like this game versus Clermont.
Whoa.
I mean, I just feel bad for Clermont. I mean, Clermont still managed 2 goals against them, but you had
1-1-1.
Neymar with a hat trick, Kylian Mbappé with a hat trick, and you had Lionel Messi with a hat trick of assists.
Look, they performed extremely well against Clermont away. Top notch. That's it.
Yeah.
Like in the league, they're gonna win it. We all expected that. But it just comes with a grain of salt, these types of things and numbers. And Messi, I think he's like 7 assists away of becoming the all-time leading in assists in Liga. Yeah. So that's really good and something that's should be highlighted. He's not playing badly, Messi, okay? He is not. That is fake news. But, yes, the attention that... that's a whole other topic. But I got to highlight something that I saw in the news. And this just shows how desperate and understandably desperate PSG are to lock in Kylian Mbappé, okay? I would be desperate too if I was losing Mbappé. And this is what they're offering, Breton. This is what they're offering. Beforehand, it was 100 million up forwards. Not anymore. The reports are saying PSG are offering Kylian Mbappé 150 million for him to sign that contract. And 2 years, 40 million a year. Sheesh.
But I'm sorry, 150 million signing bonus?
Exactly. Just to sign that bad boy contract. Just to sign it, 150 forwards.
Here's a country. Here's a I don't even know, how do you quantify 150 million dollars? Literally, like, here is a country.
Exactly. And we know French tax, they get 50%, okay?
True.
So up forwards, PSG's paying 300 million.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is so, oh my goodness.
And from a footballing perspective, here's what they're buying. We all know it's a whole lot more than a footballing perspective, but he's buying in 39 matches this still a kid. He's 23. Okay, he's not a kid. Mm-hmm. He's not a wonder kid. But Kylian Mbappé in 39 matches has 31 goals and 22 assists. He's got a goal involvement every 63 minutes. And yeah, because he plays for PSG in League One, a lot of that comes with at least people that are purists or people that follow other leagues. Mm-hmm. They essentially put an asterisk next to it and say, well, you're in the Farmers League of League One. Now, 31 goals, 22 assists is still absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
It is Messi numbers. It is Lewandowski number. Actually, it's more than Lewandowski numbers because he would never register that amount of assists. It is Cristiano Ronaldo numbers. But we all know that he also does it at other levels. This is a kid that already has a World Cup under his belt, right?
Very well
said. It's bonkers. Mm-hmm. So maybe, while the money sounds insane, maybe it's worth it. It's unbelievable. You're right.
I get you though. But I got to 150 million. And Di Maria is gonna go. Okay, so I think there's gonna be a huge culture change. And they're not even thinking about the coach. Pochettino must be and where's my contract? Where's my contract? He's being offered at 150? Man, insane. Would you in the general news, do you have anything we've missed?
I'm gonna make a joke here. You give Mbappe 150 million up front, he's gonna turn around and put a down payment on the team. He's gonna own PSG in the future.
He will. I believe Marcelo already owns Mafra here in Portugal, and then you got players already buying clubs. So
this
is
true.
I believe Ronaldo one day is gonna buy a club. I really believe that's.
And I'm surprised. He doesn't pull a David Beckham and buy a MLS team. Although Inter Miami, although they did get a win the other day, Inter Miami is still the laughing stock of the league. But really, I just wanted to bring up the last thing in general news. I mean, if you're not watching Serie A football right now, or Calcio, whatever you want to call it, if you're not watching it, please just do it, and particularly watch. AC Milan, I think, is playing Torino right now, so we won't know, when this is posted, what's going on. But Napoli just had a heartbreaking loss to Fiorentina. yeah, it was one hell of a game. And Arthur Cabral, congrats on getting a very important game winner. But I just wanted to highlight this guy because of how I was astounded when I went back and I looked at his stats. Ciro Immobile at 32. I mean, are we going to call him the king of Serie A at some point? I mean, at least the king of Serie A goal scoring. He's already up to 24 goals in 27 matches this season. And he had 36 Serie A goals in 2019-2020, only 20 last season, and he's got 24 already leading the league. But over the last 5 seasons, at his age, 27 to 32, in that range over the last 5 seasons, he's averaged 25 plus a year in Serie A. I mean, that is longevity, that is consistency, and it dawned on me, this guy's not going to Qatar. He's not going to the World Cup. Neither is Lorenzo Insigne. Neither are some of these old heads that we're never going to see again, likely in an Italian shirt over the next 4 years. I mean, that's tough.
We're good. Portugal's going, Preston. Let's think about the positive with that. But yes, you said, let's see. You mentioned Artur Cabral, and I was going to lead up. So people, if we haven't mentioned something in the general news, please put down below, and let's have a good chat with that. And yes, Wonderkid's news. I know he's not a Wonderkid. He's 23 years old, but Artur Cabral went to Fiorentina because a certain person went to Juve and he wasn't banging goals. True, okay, right. in his last couple of matches, Dusan Vlahovic, but he scored in the last one, and it was the dagger that was needed for Juve to win. And I just want to say this, Allegri, watch out, okay? I believe Allegri's job right now at Juve is a bit on the fence. And I know Chiesa's injured, and that's why they're not so good attacking-wise. I understand. But Dybala's going to go. And Dybala was the one who set up that goal to Vlahovic. And I was like, why is Dybala going? Why? So it's like Allegri must have a bit of a decision-making with that. So I'd watch out. So because you can have Dybala leaving, De Ligt leaving, and you have all those doubts. Kulusevski, he's gone. Bentancur, he's gone. So they need to bring in. To bring in players.
Feels like a rebuild all over again with that. And I think that's what people were preparing for, I guess, when Allegri came in. But we also don't really have a great understanding of their financial situation beyond the resources they threw at Vlahovic. Right. I mean, that in and of itself surprised everybody. Right. Yeah. They're like, oh, where did Juventus get this money?
They're fine with that. They got billionaire owners. Paratici knows.
I mean, in Italian football, having billionaire owners doesn't necessarily mean too much, as we've seen over the last 10, 15 years. But yes, should they be fine? Great. But there are rumors De Ligt is leaving. Right. There are rumors. There's a lot of people. Let's be honest. There's more people rumored to be leaving Juventus than there are that are coming in. So, how are they going to spend this money? And that doesn't always lead to success on the field. You got to get that right. But anyway, Vlahovic, that's a great shout. And
Artur Cabral, you mentioned him fast. Go watch the Artur Cabral, the third goal of Fiorentina against Napoli. He goes with a run from the left. He tucks it in, and a beautiful goal against Napoli, which clinched a very important move for Fiorentina against Napoli. I really had really good shout, Bretton.
Yeah, and Fiorentina just continues to. Nico Gonzalez has been just a breath of fresh air for them. He was when he was in the Bundesliga, when he was healthy, and it's good to see him really kicking on at Fiorentina. I would love to see a Fiorentina actually be in a title mix in the next 1, 3, 5 years if they can hold on to some of these guys and grow with them. But I understand that's easier said than done. But I got one for you. Okay. I got to bring up Luka Sučić. Okay. 19-year-old midfielder, plays for Red Bull Salzburg. Everybody here that listens to us knows that we love Red Bull Salzburg, mainly because they don't crap. They will play their youngsters. Yes. That's actually part of the thing. It's part of the pyramid. Salzburg, Leipzig, and then the rest is history. But Luka Sučić is 19 years old, central midfielder, and he went really. He played really well today. Got them closer to yet another. I don't know if it's like their 8th in a row or whatever it is. Another Bundesliga title in Austria. But really, what I wanted to say, he's got one cap under his belt. We're talking about a Croatian team. I know that is. It's not like aging, right? It's not. Come on, it's not. They're not senior citizens. They're not like 38 years old, 39, except for like a couple of them are getting up there. But there is a need for like a vigor, right? There is a need for a youthful injection, and I really do believe that bringing Luke, give him 7 more months to develop. Luka Sučić will be on the plane to Qatar. I believe it. I have a feeling because I just love his development right now at Salzburg, and I think he's going to take a leap maybe this summer. Although he might stay one more year at Salzburg because they're going to need him a whole lot more with Aronson gone. I know they don't necessarily play the same spot, but Luka Sučić is one. He's got one cap under his belt right now. I think June and the summer windows will tell you all you need to know about him. But watch him, scout him, because I'm high on him, and I really would like to see him on that plane to Qatar. And I don't know if he's good enough to get minutes yet. But a lot can change, as we've seen, in 7 months. I mean, there will be a guy on the United States men's national team roster that we probably did not expect to be there over the next 7 months. And I'm going to call it Sučić for Croatia.
That's a great player. If he's at Red Bull Salzburg, he might leave before he gets there. But great player. But like we know, too, like that Croatian midfield with Brozovic, Modric, it would be very, very good for him to actually get that experience to go to Qatar. So that is a great shout. I'm going to mention something that has to be said, and it's going to happen, that Fábio Carvalho is going to sign for Liverpool, okay? It didn't happen last January, but it's going to happen next summer. And the fees are the same as the ones that Fabrizio was mentioning at the end of the January transfer window. 5 million and 20% of the future fee. I don't see Liverpool doing this often, okay? And I'm going to say this. I legit believe he's going to make a difference when he arrives. Not Luis Diaz level, Fábio Carvalho, difference. But I legit believe he'll come off the bench and he'll be a player like Harvey Elliott is right now at Liverpool. And I'm going to say this. Acrescentar ainda mais. Add even more. Sorry, in Portuguese.
I don't know what that means.
Fábio Carvalho will be considered, okay, after the next season, one of the best transfers in the summer. Because I really rate this kid high. And you know how hyped I was when I saw that he chose Portugal under 21 instead of England, and he bagged a goal, mentioning Ballon d'Or. Now he's going to the right club to develop, in my opinion, that Liverpool is. So, I am incredibly bullish on the potential of Fábio Carvalho. And, that's because he's Portuguese. But if I'm going to go Portuguese bias quick, Fábio Vieira. Another Fábio, because we got Fábios coming in from Fulham and from Porto right now. And both these players, I wouldn't be surprised if Fernando Santos would bring them to Qatar. Fábio Vieira and Fábio Carvalho if he goes to Liverpool and he performs well. But Fábio Vieira for Porto, look, people, watch him play. 50 games, okay? He's already played for Porto at 21. And people tend to focus on Vitinha, the incredible dribbling, the good decision making, the controlling the tempo. But Vieira has the direct assists, the direct goals, and he makes it happen. Okay, I compare him a lot with Bernardo Silva and how he moves so comfortably, going to the wing, going to the middle. He's that type of player. So people, watch out on Fábio Vieira at Porto too. Because
well, what's it going to take for the other Fábio Silva at Wolves to find his way onto the plane?
He's Fábio. Well, he will definitely need to start bagging those goals. But the thing here with Fábio Silva is, when I watch him, is he plays well. Like, I don't say, like, oh, he's playing so badly. Like, the off-ball movement is good. The only thing that's lacking is the most important thing for a finisher, and definitely for his confidence, it's the goals. So let's hope that Fábio Silva gets that vein from Jimenez in the past and starts bagging those goals for Wolves, man, because they'll find someone. Bruno Lage will find someone. He's not scared.
Wolves needs it right now. They need they just need a few results to go their way. But yeah, that's good shouts, and I'm sure there will be some other Fabios coming along in the next couple of years. But I agree. I mean, Fabio Carvalho, I've been watching him because sort of been a Fulham fan since Clint Dempsey was there, since Brian McBride was there. So I'm always kind of like watching them as they do their jockeying for position at the bottom of the Premier League to the top of the Championship, and then vice versa. I was always hoping that Fabio Carvalho was a guy that would grow with them to the point where he would wind up then being there in their starting 11 first day. And I want him to be sent on loan. I want you to be wrong so that when they win promotion, because it's seeming pretty likely that they do, that Liverpool loans him back and has him spend his first year, much like they sent Harvey Elliott out on loan to Blackburn. True. And he had great seasons for Blackburn at a younger age too. He was doing it at 17. Exactly. I would love to see Fabio Carvalho continue his work for Fulham, and let's keep him up for a season. See what Fulham can do in the Premier League, right? Maybe if they can get a year to build so that they're not just playing crazy football manager games every year. Anyway, that's my hope, but I could also see that happening, him become the next Harvey Elliott for them in stature of a young signing like that, where
super sub.
That's great.
I believe
that's great.
I believe he'll have that impact straight away. Yeah.
I'm going to get the bad news out of the way. I don't know if you saw the Twitter photos going around and even the video, and I'm not sure why the cameraman was so up close to Gio Reyna, but man, once again, not even a couple minutes into a game, poor kid is off, tears a tendon in his leg, likely out the rest of the year. I guess the only silver lining here for Giovanni Reyna is that there are 7 months until the World Cup, and it's not 3 months until the World Cup like it normally is. I just want to see that kid healthy. And I get it. Like, everybody's first thought process goes straight to the physio team at Borussia Dortmund. Like, why can't they keep anyone who's decent at football healthy? Why can't they keep them that way? I don't necessarily want to be that person that does that, but it's just so tough to see. A kid that if you saw it, you just feel it because he just immediately just breaks down. And of course the camera is right there to catch it all. So all we want to say is I think all of us here want Giovanni Reyna to be healthy and playing week in, week out, because he is that one kid that he really does have something about him. And I said it the last time, that makes me excited to watch every time he steps out there. And, much like Christian Pulisic when he came in, but with such a different dynamic in a lot of ways to him. So here's hoping. Here's hoping.
Let's hope he goes to Qatar, though. Like, do you think there's a possibility? 7 months?
I do think there will be a possibility. From what I've heard, and it's still very early. From what I've heard, it's going to be a couple months, and I doubt that the June CONCACAF Nations League window is in his future. But I don't know. Those things are tricky. Hammies and quads. I mean, those are not easy to rehab and not easy to get back to 100%. But hey, I guess you could say at least it wasn't an Achilles. At least it wasn't an ACL.
Yep, true.
But
true.
Anyway, I'm going to back that up. I'm going to basically say, at least there was another kid in the same weekend debuting in the Bundesliga, and that was a young fullback / winger from DC United. Kevin Paredes made his Bundesliga debut, 19 years old, and he's going to be a fun to watch. What was that? For Wolfsburg.
Yep, that was a great player. He's you know more on him, but yeah, that's a great shout too. I like to end up with the Bundesliga on my end, like Wonderkid use I have to end up with, what is Raiola doing with Bayern Munich, right? Like, we get Gravenberch that is rumoredly going for 28 million. That is elite business by Bayern. To Bayern Munich, and Mazraoui going to that right back role that, it's a great deal too for Bayern Munich. And this midfield is scary for years to come of Gravenberch, Kimmich, and Jamal Musiala. This is what Bayern Munich is cooking, and no one's watching with the youth. Underrated, I'd say. They focus a lot on Dortmund, but look at this youth midfield. Okay, Kimmich is a bit old, but come on, he's not that old. So,
no, he's not. He's 27.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, he just made his Gravenberch just made his 100th appearance, I think, for Ajax, and he's still 19 years old.
Oh my days.
Unbelievable. Although I guess you could see maybe Ten Hag can sweeten an offer and get him in the door at United. But
no. Leave Donny there.
I don't know. With Raiola, we'll see on that end. Yeah, that's a good shout. I had another one here, and he's a little less known, but I feel like people Liverpool. Okay, we all remember that moment and how quickly it happened. When Trent Alexander-Arnold took the corner heard around the world, right, back in the Champions League. What we might not know, and you see this on Twitter all the time, is like people circling like Reece James being the ball boy back in the day at Stamford Bridge or something, and then showing him now, and it's like where they were then and where they are now. How cool is that? That's pretty awesome. It is. It's always awesome. Well, there was the ball boy on that day, the ball boy that gave the ball to Trent Alexander-Arnold. On that fateful day, is a forward for Liverpool's U18s. Okay, signed a new deal I think earlier this year to extend it. His name is Oakley Cannonier, and he just dropped 4 goals over the weekend in the U18 Premier League against Leeds United. And I looked at his stats. I went back and I was shocked. He is, and this obviously doesn't mean that he's going to be a massive baller in the future, but you never know. He has 25 goals in 20 appearances for Liverpool's U18 Premier League team. And from what I hear, he's one of the best prospects to watch out for, obviously alongside this Mateusz Musialowski at Liverpool. But I felt the need. I mean, come on. How often do you see the ball boy that he gets famous for being a ball boy, and now he's actually literally balling his way to potentially a Liverpool EFL Cup debut or something in the next year or two?
Could happen. Klopp would be that guy. Klopp could be that guy. So if there's anything we haven't mentioned with the Wonderkids people, please put down below and go bold with that. So let's go with the last topic, and we'll try to do it every podcast now that it is. This is a bold one, people. Best 11 from the World Cup each group. But we're only managing to do one today, okay? So Group A, okay, with Ecuador, Qatar, Senegal, and the Netherlands. We're going to do the best lineup of Group A. So you want to get it started?
I mean, I feel like goalkeeper is pretty unanimous, right?
Let's see. Mendy.
Okay. All right, let's say it at the same time. Who is your goalkeeper in Group A, best 11?
My goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy. Exactly. Okay. Edouard Mendy is the goalkeeper choice. Yes.
And that's even with those odd decisions and the kind of howler he had the other day that Chelsea obviously bounced back from. I mean, I'm pretty sure you and I were having a tough time even naming the Dutch goalkeepers. A lot of them are still injured. A lot of them aren't playing a lot, which is weird. Right? Who was the one that you mentioned that I looked up?
Jesper Silva.
Yeah, he's barely been playing these days. I don't know. Has he been injured?
He was a Wonderkid at the time too. I know he got a tough injury. Yeah, it's true. Skettenberg was a guy too. They kind of he kind of fixed the problem after Van der Sar, but
right.
I get you. But Mendy is our choice for the best goalkeeper in Group A. Now, my left back, I had to do a bit of digging, and I'm going to pick a player for Senegal. That is Salius Cisse, that for me, I think is the best left back at Group A. Is it your choice too?
No, it's not my choice because I really like Pervis Estupinan, and I'm getting his name wrong, for Ecuador. I'm a big fan. I mean, I could have put Daley Blind there, right? Because he has played left wing back, I believe, for the Dutch. And just like he has for Ajax as well.
True.
But Estupinan, he was the starting left back for Villarreal in their 1-0 win versus Bayern recently. No, I like him. He's progressive. I mean, he's still working through kind of, well, you might remember he was a signing, I believe, or maybe was that Oscar? I think he was the signing for Watford, and then he was loaned out to La Liga for like several years, and now he's made it his own in Villarreal. They have turned him into one hell of a left back. Can dribble, can get into the attack. His defense is improving, but I really, really like him on that left side for Ecuador. The only weird thing is that he hadn't really, and I don't know why. So if we have any Ecuadorian followers, I'd love to know why Estupinan has not necessarily been like always the left back of choice. And I don't think it's because he isn't the best left back in Ecuador. I think it might be for other reasons. So I'd love to know why, but I haven't been able to find that answer. So yeah, Pervis Estupinan is my left back.
Okay, now 2 center backs. I'll say it. I believe we're gonna have the same choices, but a lot of shout outs to do for the center backs. And Virgil van Dijk is one of them for Netherlands, and the other one is Koulibaly for Senegal. But I wanted to almost pick like for Ecuador Hincapie, that he's performing really well for Leverkusen, or De Ligt or Timber. I was like, why can't I put just Virgil van Dijk next to De Ligt or Timber? So
yeah, I mean, those are all the shouts that I had as well. But Koulibaly, I mean, come on, Napoli's in the race for the Scudetto even after their trip up against Fiorentina. He led them to that hot start to the year where they like barely conceded goals and were just killing it. So yeah, Koulibaly. Can you imagine a center back pairing between Van Dijk and Koulibaly?
That would be I think that would be the best center back duo in the world. Like my team's doing a good job, but let's imagine Koulibaly. Oh my days.
Yeah, and I love your shout of Hincapie because I was not expecting him. Injuries have played its part for all of Bayer Leverkusen, but I was not expecting him to come in and have even an impact yet on Leverkusen, and they really like what they see with him. And hey, another Ecuadorian, man. That young Ecuadorian team really excites me. I hope I don't, regret it in the future, but I'm going to back them pretty hard this year.
There's a couple of shouts to do. We'll do it. So at the right, I'm going to go with the only Qatar player. And it's because they're ties to Portugal. No, I'm joking. It's because he's one of the best players of Qatar. And that was like the slot in the team that I feel was the weakest. And Pedro Miguel is my choice, okay, for the right back slot. And he'll surprise a lot of people because I think he's going to be one of the top 3 players for Qatar next to Akram Afif. Pedro Miguel at the right back spot. So I went bold with that.
And you're right. When we do this after Group A is all written in stone and all the results are played, there will be a Qatari player or two likely in this best 11. But you and I haven't really been able to watch them as much. So maybe it is Pedro Miguel. But I couldn't find my way past Denzel Dumfries. Okay. I just couldn't find my way past him.
Yes.
He had his coming out party in a good way in the Euros, and I think he's going to continue his rise, even if it maybe has cooled down some. But again, he's in a Scudetto race, and I'm here for it. I like a whole lot about him. There's a whole lot more to improve, but I'm not Mr. Scout. I just really, really enjoy his game and the big leap that he's made in the last year and a half. So my right back's Denzel Dumfries.
I agree with but that's the best one. Yeah, I agree with you. But let's go with the midfield trio. The first one I picked for the CDM role is Idrissa Gueye from PSG. Solid choice in my opinion because if you need someone at the back and massively underrated for PSG, there's a couple of matches, the Champions League matches that I remember. I was like, he's one of the best, Idrissa Gueye. And I am sure he's going to go with the same energy to the World Cup because, yeah, he's got something to prove, and they will. They will. So that's my first shout in midfield, Idrissa Gueye.
Okay. Well, my DM is also Idrissa Gueye.
Okay.
This was hands down for me. In watching the games, PSG, he was always focal point. So I don't know if I got to watch him enough amidst the qualifiers to say that he was the exact same influence for them, but I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. And yeah, this being likely his last World Cup for Senegal, I'm gonna say he's gonna have a fine one. So yeah, Gueye is my DM.
And so let's go with just picking the three midfielders. So Idrissa Gueye, Frankie De Jong, and the other one was the one I was on the fence, but I'm gonna go with Steven Bergwijn. Excellent transfer from Feyenoord to Ajax. It's really working out. He's got 7 league goals and 8 assists. So for me, 30-year-old Steven Bergwijn, one of the best players for Ajax and Netherlands. That's my trio. That's my trio of midfielders.
I mean, he's been such a shrewd signing for them, just very, very good. And he plays in that pocket, and I really like that shout. But I'm gonna go differently. I'm gonna go box to box instead of an outright 10 because you got all the firepower up top. I'm gonna say my DM is Idrissa Gueye from Senegal. My next is Frankie De Jong, definitely. And then I have Moises Caicedo from Ecuador. I told you you'd hear him later.
I like it.
And yeah, he just got his first Premier League start, but we've been following him for a while. I remember when he made the move over. I was initially pretty annoyed that he was going to Brighton, especially when Brighton sent him on loan to one of the worst teams in Belgium. That was very quickly null and void. And they brought him back, and I think he's doing the right things to show that he can be huge. But you have to think about it this way: Argentina and Brazil. Okay, great. They were the first two that qualified. Ecuador, they rode a hot start, and a lot of that was because of Caicedo's form. And he is just great in that midfield, alongside Carlos Gruezo, who's a former MLS player for FC Dallas. Who's in the Bundesliga. So Caicedo is one that I think you take Caicedo now. I said it before. He's great. You take him 7 months from now. I think he's going to really turn some heads in Group A. So Idrissa Gueye, Frankie De Jong, Moises Caicedo.
I like it. He's Moises Caicedo, and his stock is going to go up. That's a great show. Great show. So our front three. Let's go. I think we had the same front three, but let's see. We never know. Front three of Group A, I go with Sadio Mane at the left. At the fours, I go with Memphis Depay. And at the right, I go with Ismail Sarr. That's my front trio of Group A. What's yours?
Done. I don't know what I just did with this. Whatever I'm doing with my hands. But no, I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
That's and for me, a shout. I gotta say, the Ecuador. I think you're gonna like this. Is Jeremy Sarmiento, because I was shocked when I saw his name in Ecuador because he was previously an England national team youngster, and he's at Brighton too, right?
He is at Brighton. Was he previously at Benfica too?
Yes, I watched him at Benfica under 19s. He was a winger at the time. So excellent. He's good. He's good development. Watch out for him, Jeremy Sarmiento, because he had that confidence at Benfica. He had that.
Absolutely.
He had that. He knew he was destined for big heights, and he's going to be going to the World Cup. So and last shout, you'll know more on him, Byron Castillo. Right back, because I was who's my right back type beat, and Dumfries should have been my choice, but Pedro Miguel and Byron Castillo was the other right back that I feel maybe he could surprise some people.
I like him as well, and but I think when you have Sadio Mane, you have Memphis Depay and Ismail Sarr. Steven Bergwijn could be up there.
True.
There's a bunch of names, obviously, with the Dutch. Daniel Malen, Myron Boadu, if he makes the trip. I mean, there's quite a few. But that attack, doesn't scare me as much as it used to when Boadu was scoring a whole bunch of goals for AZ Alkmaar. Or wait, I'm sorry. Was it?
Boadu.
Yeah.
Cody Gakpo is yes, but Boadu was at Alkmaar. Yeah. Now he's at Monaco,
Yeah.
but yes,
Right,
I agree with
right.
you.
It was Malen was at PSV.
Yes.
So yeah, I couldn't get past it. But the other one you're leaving out, you mentioned him previously. I believe Qatar's top scorer is going to be Akram Afif.
Yep.
He has shown a knack for putting it in the net, and the only reason he's not up there is because Depay, Mane, and Sarr.
And Cody Gakpo too is like the guy that I'd be like. So our lineups. I'm gonna steal Dumfries, man. Sorry, I'm gonna steal a player. I'm gonna. So could you announce your lineup and then I announce my lineup?
Sure. So for Group A, we'll call this like what, the preseason best 11.
Yes.
World Cup Group A. Goalkeeper from the back, I've got Edouard Mendy. At the left back, I've got Pervis Estupinan from Ecuador. The two center backs, Kalidou Koulibaly and Virgil van Dijk. Right back is Denzel Dumfries. My DM in midfield is Idrissa Gueye. And then I've got Frankie de Jong and Moises Caicedo from Ecuador in there as well. And then up front, left wing, Sadio Mane. Up top, Memphis Depay. And right wing, Ismaila Sarr, Senegalese Bombers. I love it. That's mine, 11.
So my best 11 of Group A has Edouard Mendy in goal, Saliou Cisse at the left, Koulibaly and Virgil van Dijk in the center back duo, and at the right, Dumfries. But that shout out to Pedro Miguel. In the midfield, I'm going to say Idrissa Gueye, Frankie de Jong, and Steven Berghuis from Ajax and the Netherlands. And the last is the front trio with Sadio Mane, Depay, and Ismail Sarr. So people, if there's any player that we missed out and you're like, you should have him in that best 11 of Group A, please put down below in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video and go bold. So, that's another one done, Brenton. Episode 51. And let me just say, comment down below which is the next group you want us to do. Because it's going to be Group C. But if you want another group, go down below and say, no, not Group C. Say another one. And we'll listen to you guys.
Hey, the one thing I forgot to mention to you, we still haven't brought it up, and both of us have confirmed it. Issa Haku is going to Sporting, and there are pictures and everything. I don't know. Have we mentioned it anywhere? Have we mentioned it on our podcast? We haven't mentioned it live. It is confirmed, and I am so stoked. I think I might be a Sporting fan next year.
500,000 too, wasn't it? That was a good investment. Like, and Ruben
He's gonna be at the World Cup. He's gonna be balling out at the World Cup. Watch it.
Sheesh. 18 right now. So people, Abdul Fatou, what's and
Fatawu, something like that.
So people, go bold. Don't forget to like this video and thank you for listening to our weekly podcast, okay? And thank you for going bold. And don't forget to like this video and listen to FC Wonderkid on Spotify too. Thank you. Hi people, thank you for listening to episode 51. And here is the quick announcement of the 3 winners that had 3 bold predictions in the comment section of episode 50, in which comment more to show us that you want more giveaways, and we'll do many more. So the 3 winners are Avery Mathers with saying bold prediction, Canada comes second in the groups, then the round of 16 match will go to penalty kicks, and barely winning it. The second winner is Hector Vargas, going extremely bold and saying Pedri is going to be the best midfielder of all time. And the third winner of our giveaway goes to Rodrigo Caetano, saying my bold prediction is that Portugal reaches the final of the World Cup, and I love it. So people, do not forget to comment in the video, and thank you for listening to episode 51. Subscribe and like the video.